Hello everyone, this is Kyle from Kann Farms. Welcome to my Baking Cakes from Scratch series. Uh, it's my first farming simulator series, and I wanted to start with the most complicated production, mainly to try and learn how to play the game. I'm playing on the hard difficulties. I have one change right now. The fuel consumption is set to normal. I think that's a mistake, to be honest. I would change that back in my next playthrough. Unfortunately, I didn't think to record any of this when I started. I didn't plan on actually posting anything to YouTube, but my partner said I should try. So here I am. We're I think we're in year 6 or 7 at this point. And the goal is to do everything on our own. No contracts, just what we produce on the land. At this point, we do have a pretty good start. We already have a good silage field. We have a sugarcane field and sugar productions, and we've got barley and chickens. So sustaining the farm is pretty easy. Today's episode is just going to be cutting the grass and baling, getting that all set up, and really just an introduction to who I am and what I'm doing here. If you have any questions, suggestions, anything like that, please feel free to let me know. I'm very new to this, and I appreciate anyone's input. In this field, what I like to do is do this one headland because the AI really gets stuck at the end. It's not a big deal, you don't actually lose a lot, but it just looks cleaner when you do it all on your own at the beginning. And then I just sort of let the CPU run. I let the computer do a lot of the work here because I'll follow it up with a baler, and if I can get everything going at the same time, I get this whole field done. I get it cut, rowed, baled, limed, fertilized, everything in less than an hour. Um, so it's pretty good. What you'll see here is that actually after I get the computer going, I bounce over to another project. That way the computer can run a little bit, get ahead of itself for the rower. Right now I'm just checking on the chickens. I have sold like half a year's worth of eggs. This is the first full year with them, and I found that this is, I mean, I have no problems with the sugar ever filling up, but the eggs fill up pretty quick. So I do have to shove them off to the side until it's ready to sell them. I wish I was better with the skid steer, and actually this skid steer kind of annoys me. Uh, it's good, it's powerful, it reaches high enough, but the forks won't lay flat on the ground, so I always have to tilt it down to pick things up, and I'm hoping there are other skid steers in the future that I can try out that will actually go flat to the ground. Maybe I'm just in a position where I need to get good. So we'll see how that goes in the future. But for now, it's not doing any heavy lifting. I do have a couple of mods installed that help me save time. One of them is an auto-loading pickup, or auto-loading semi and trailer. So it's not that big of a deal. I think, again, in future playthroughs, I do play on PlayStation, so I think in future playthroughs I will try and limit the number of mods I'm using, just for personal challenge, and when I am using the skid steer, I do have fun. It's, I have to be precise and move things, and obviously I'm just sort of shifting them around and stacking them now, nothing super pretty, but I think it would be fun to play and have to do everything on your own. So I think in the future, again, with this playthrough, I'm already, like I said, 6 or 7 game years in, so I'm not going to change anything now. But in my future playthroughs, I think I'm going to play with only the giant provided content. I am using the precision farming, and I have the AGI pack installed, but I haven't actually made any seeds with it. But I don't, and I just, I guess I don't find a lot of fun in making the game easier. I guess I might change my mind in the future, but for now, those are my thoughts on it. The other mod I have, you see it here next to the tractor, is that pickup truck. The in-game pickup truck annoyed me because I couldn't tow anything besides the smallest trailers. And I might be misremembering, but I don't think it actually went very fast. And I felt that was unrealistic in the opposite way of the auto-loading semi. The problem with this pickup truck, well, I'm not using it here, but you'll see here, I think later in the video, it's almost too good. I'll use it for my baling, and I'll use it for the bale pickup, and it sort of just rips through everything. It doesn't have any towing issues. It's super powerful. I don't. I think that's just too unrealistic. But again, I'm so far into the game at this point that I don't really want to have to sell it off, buy a new tractor. Money is not terrible, but it's tight. At this point, I'm not holding any loans, but I only have, $60,000, and I'm running tractors that have 40, 50, 60 hours on them, so it, it would cost me too much to sell everything and get another tractor and, try and get everything set up. But it's another just sort of thought for my future playthroughs. Right now, the mower is not quite far enough ahead for me to start the rower. I'll catch up. So I'm just getting everything set up here to finish the project quickly. Bringing the fertilizer over. I'm pretty sure I need to get some lime. So I'm gonna go do that real quick. And once I get that set up, I'll start baling. I do, like I said, I do try. The problem with this is that you do it 3 times a year in game, so it gets a little repetitive, and I try and get through it as quickly as possible. I used to actually roll the field after I was done, so I could get a 4th harvest in a year. But rolling the field takes the same amount of time as cutting it, rowing it, baling it, liming it, fertilizing it. It's just not worth it in terms of real world time. I could see an argument if you need more silage or hay to get your cows going, and you couldn't afford to buy more land, you just actually needed more of the product, then I can see an argument for using the roller. But as it stands now, I don't have any cows, and if I did the math right, I should be able to produce enough silage and hay on this with 3 harvests to get all the cows I'll need for my end productions. So I'm not going to be rolling it anymore. But here you can see, like, in real life, I'm not gonna hook up a pickup truck to this giant baler and just rip through these fields with no problems, but I'm going to here. So I'm thinking most of you have seen this before, so after I get it all started, I'm probably going to fast forward through a lot of the baling. It's the longest part of this process, and I don't actually have too much more going on in the day, but I just wanted to show you what I do specifically in this field. I have a feeling a lot of people are playing on Elm Creek for early playthroughs, and if you have any tips on making it more efficient, I'd like to hear them, so I can try and spend less time on these screens. And if I'm teaching you something, I'm glad. That was kind of the goal of setting it up this way. You'll see what I try and do is not have any bales on the ends of the hedgerows, because again, the AI really struggles with the hedgerows. So I will try and leave that clean, and then the rower at the end I'll run through the hedgerows and just leave myself with another couple of lines for the baler. Um, it's a pretty simple process, but this way, again, I'm not having to switch equipment all the way through. I'm always just trying to be as quick as I can when I'm doing the baling. It's just, at first it was exciting, and it brings in a ton of money, but it gets dull. So uh, here we are, just sort of speeding through and being done with it. Um, each time I harvest this out, though, I get 34 or 35 bales, and on the hard difficulty, they're worth more than a grand a bale. It ends up being, 40K per run. It's sort of carrying me in terms of money. It's helped me expand pretty quickly. It's helped me pay off loans for equipment. It's really kind of been the backbone of Kann Farms here. At this point, I do another kind of unique, or at least I feel unique setup with the liming and fertilizing. I actually run 3 rows the short distance here with a lime, and I do that on each headland, and I do that because it's the perfect width for the fertilizer to come behind it, and it becomes super satisfying getting the lime and the fertilizing to time out perfectly. That the liming ends, the computer ends its row almost exactly at the time that I'm coming on my last pass with the fertilizer, and so it moves pretty smoothly, and I don't know, it just makes me happy. So I do it this way. It saves a little bit of money too. You're running the workers a little bit less, but that's not really why I do it. I do it mainly for time and just personal satisfaction. I am still using the cheapest lime trailer spreader. I should probably look at upgrading that. It'll save a little bit more time, and maybe I'll only have to do 2 passes at the beginning before I can get the AI running. For now, it works. It's what I've had, and I don't. Again, I want to push. I feel so close to getting all the productions up and running. So I'll probably stick with a lot of what I have until I'm at the end of building and really have money to just spend on quality of life. So now, like I said, here's what I was talking about earlier. Now I've got the AI running the lime trailer, and I will do a pass on each end with the fertilizer spreader, sorry. And what this will let me do is just kind of do laps into the blank zone and never have to stop and turn outside of the first couple of passes. And it ends up being just a really, really nice timing. I don't ever really like letting the AI use the fertilizer. It just it misses parts. Liming, it does a really pretty good job, but with fertilizing, I don't understand why, but it just leaves blocks undone, and you have to really double check, make sure you have everything covered, and then you can go over it, fix it, and finish it in the end. I've noticed that the AI does some jobs really well, and others you have to babysit. which is fine. It still saves time, but I just pick and choose my work based on what the computer workers are good at. Um, Oops. Yeah, gotta fold that up to turn here. Uh, but it becomes a pretty smooth process. Well, we're just sort of flowing through the rest of this. I guess I'm gonna take a moment here to talk about how I'm formatting the videos and what my process is into making these. That way, if you have any feedback or suggestions, anything you'd like to see or see that I do differently, um, we can talk about that, and I can produce content that people would want to see. Um, but what I'm doing is just live streaming everything onto YouTube as I play it, and then I download the live stream and I cut things together. That way, like this process in real life is about an hour, and I'm able to cut it down to about 25 minutes here, I think, and make it a little easier to watch. I'm also able to cut out a lot of the menuing and switching between vehicles and try and make the video a little smoother. I'm not as creative, maybe I guess not in the same way as a lot of the other content creators that are out there. So I'm not sure I'll ever be able to do full roleplay stories, but I do always want to come up with a concept for the farm and always be working in that direction. So like I said with this one, we're trying to bake cakes from scratch, and the way I've got it going now, my fields and everything should produce enough to have 8 bakeries up and running for the entire year. So the end goal of this farm is to have 8 bakeries, and I'll end up with 3.5 dairies producing chocolate. I think the next one I want to do wine, and my partner said that you can't have wine without charcuterie, so I'll do a wine and charcuterie. And I think when I start that one, I'll be able to implement a lot of the changes that anyone suggests here in how we want to go about doing that. But if this is a video, or you like how the video flows, or you like the format, please let me know. If you want things changed, you want things differently, please let me, done differently, please let me know. As it is right now, it's sort of me just sort of talking, stream of conscious, enjoying the farming. I think this is a really pretty game. You have the rain, the thunder, you see the wind blowing. And so I figure my videos and streams will sort of stay within that realm. But if it's, if there's anything that you'd want to see as a viewer, this is my first video. I'm very new to this, and I'm very open to adapting and changing and being able to provide something that you think is new or unique, or just want to see. But for now, at least for the first few videos, I think this is the direction I'm going to go in. I have started clipping things in advance, trying to create content in advance, so I'm not ever in a rush to produce something. The downside of that is there may be a lag between suggestions and me being able to implement them. But I will be reading, I will be listening, or at least I'll try my best. One thing I'll ask for input on right away is, how do y'all prefer I move through some of the slower portions, like I did with the baling and some of the liming? Do you prefer that I just cut to the next action, or do you prefer the fast forward? I went with the fast forward mainly because I like the idea of being able to see everything I'm doing. That way, if anyone's trying to copy or follow or has any tips, really, um, you can see everything that I've been doing. With me doing the live streams, there's always some footage of what's happening, actually more clear footage. With these, I do clip out sections of menuing and switching, and I can kind of cheat it a little bit visually. Um, but if that's sort of dull, you don't want to see a minute of a fast forward baling, let me know. I know I'm asking a lot from my potential viewers, hopefully viewers in the future. But this is, I make this for other people more than I make it for me. The farm's for me. That's my fun. But I want others to enjoy it as well. So thank you again for any input you provide there. I'm more than willing to cut and make the video more, I guess, action-packed. You're just able to see the big things happening in the farm. The way I'm doing it now, I'll be able to produce more videos. But if it's not content you want to see, I can have fewer videos and have more in them. As it is, I just sort of enjoy showing the farm, enjoy showing what's going into it. I don't want to hide anything. But it's totally, like I've been saying, it's totally up to you all what you want me to put out there. Here is like I say, here's the super satisfying part. We timed everything out. The AI's just finished doing its liming. It did miss this tiny strip, but every time I go back and check, it shows that it does have the right pH levels, and so it's just a visual miss. Sort of like the little patches. This is something I've noticed, that at the start of the fertilizing row it'll miss little patches covering up the lime, but that one's another just visual, I guess, glitch or bug. The field itself says it's fully fertilized, so there's nothing I can do about it. I really wish I could just go over it and clean up those parts and have a nice solid field, but I can't. There's nothing I can do there. After I finish that last patch of fertilizing, I think we'll be done on the farm for the day. Just get all the tractors put away. You will get to see, well, you will hopefully get to see a little bit of the sugar field, and you'll get to see the mess I made before settling on where my sugar field is. I'll end up putting the cows there and hopefully some of the production buildings. But it ended up being a tiny bit too small. The way sugar works was confusing to me, and I made a bit of a mistake, but I think I'll be able to make it work as the farm grows. I didn't want to sell the land, so I just sort of covered up the field. I did 2 years of sugar in this upcoming field here, and the first year it was great. It produced exactly what I wanted. It was enough to produce sugar for an entire year. But I found out that even though the sugar regrows every year, you'll see our new sugar field here, and you'll see a big plot of painted grass up here. This is the new field, and that's the old, obviously. But After that first year, you still suffer a plowing bonus. And I thought it would only be after every third year. So this plot of land here did not produce enough sugar after plowing, so I just had to move it. Um, but in episodes to come, you'll see this get filled in. You'll see you'll see some cows and some dairies. I will end up having to buy more land to fit all the productions, but for now I'm quite happy. The only thing you haven't seen yet is the barley field, but we'll have harvest in June, so you'll get to see that in the next episode. For now, thanks for joining me on Kann Farms, and I hope to see you next time.